So, Massive Ego, if you'd like to introduce yourselves.
I will, Mike. Hello, listeners,
Hi,
viewers. I'm Mark Massive, and
I'm Ollie.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Lloyd.
great, nice to meet you. And how did you all get together?
well, it's been a long history. I think next year we celebrate our 30th year. But over that time, there's been lots of different lineups, different sounds even. Like when I started the band, we went down the covers route, so we were doing lots of high energy kind of covers, but that didn't really flick my switch. So, then we started going a bit darker with the sounds. Lloyd did a remix for I Idolize You. I'd done a demo of I Idolize You. I'd put it out on my own label. Nothing happened with it, as it wouldn't. And then, yeah, Lloyd came in, did the mix.
Yeah, I did the remix, didn't I?
Yeah.
And then that's the one that I think was on the EP, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
got us signed to Outline.
Yeah.
So yeah. With that version, I took a lot darker. Lot darker? A
Darker.
lot darker.
It took a lot of nature.
Took a lot of data. Yeah, a lot darker edge on that one than the original version. So I think that got us a lot of notice.
Yeah.
That got us noticed a lot, didn't it?
And I was really keen to go sort of darker with everything, the look and the music. And that, I started listening to bands like Blue Tangle. So I'd seen that there was this big market in Germany, and I kind of followed that up, and it turned out well. Out of Line are great as a label. They get the big picture, and then recently, well, it's actually we disappeared for a while, a couple of years. It was about
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Basically, I had a bit of a kind of breakdown with it all because I've been doing it for so long. There was lots of things going on in the background, and it just took its toll. So I had a bit of a breakdown. Overnight, I took everything down on the internet and everything, and people were like, "Well, what's gone on?" But I couldn't deal with it. So Ollie was kind of dealing with a lot of that at that point. But before I took everything down, we just introduced Paul to join the ranks because one of the members disappeared and Paul came in. I liked the idea that he was going to add the guitar element because Paul used to be in a band called Rosetta Stone.
I've heard of that. Yeah,
Yeah, well, early 90s.
Early 90s.
yeah.
So good pedigree, I thought, and I wanted to introduce guitars. So, but then everything went pear-shaped. We took it all down. So nothing happened until we relaunched it like 2 years ago now, is it? Or a year and a half?
A year and a half.
Year and a
ago,
half.
something like that. Yep.
We got back together. I said, look, we need to do this. And I wanted to do it. I felt better. I did all the self-help stuff and I must have read like a pile of books, self-help books like
Yeah.
that. I kind of love all of that. So, and then got in touch with the guys again, asked if they were still up for it, and they were. And then we started writing, and we've almost got an album together.
Yeah, we're really close.
Oh, wow.
Close to getting an album finished now. So I don't know how many demos we've got actually.
Probably about 8 at the minute, so we need a few
Something
more.
like that. Need a couple
Yeah.
more maybe. But it's really coming together, and it's quite an eclectic mix this time around.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Lots of different tempos. Lots of different feels, and obviously, as Mark said, Paul's come on to the team as well now, so that's giving it a really good element as well, heavying it up a little bit, maybe a bit heavier than we were previous. So it's sounding good.
Yeah.
It's good to evolve, isn't it?
Yeah.
States.
I remember first discovering you guys, and then I got this press release saying that you'd stopped, and I thought, oh my God, no, just not just that I've discovered this band that ended. That's not great, but I understood,
Yeah.
mental health. It just
I
messes
kind of
everybody up.
changed a lot about it. Like obviously now I'm not doing a look anymore. And
Yeah,
that whole thing with they call it a Mickey wig. It was like a geisha-y kind of style.
yeah,
It had run its course. I'd done it for like over 20 years, and I was just sick to the back teeth of that character, so that persona. And I just thought, well, if I'm going to do it, I'd come back with something fresh, this is as fresh as it gets.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I actually love the short story video you did with Idle Lies,
Mm.
where
yeah,
you go into the photo booth as your previous persona and then come out as you, and it was just
I've
like,
left
well,
him in there. He's still in the
he's still in that booth, yeah.
on Brighton Pier. Yeah.
But I thought that was a fantastic idea how you did that, and it
Right.
kind of showed this almost, I suppose, like a Doctor Who reincarnation. You're coming back as this other
I don't mind
character.
sci-fi. I'm a big sci-fi nerd, so that definitely.
But it was
And
good.
funny, the video we did today kind of follows on from that. So I won't go into details, but yeah, it follows on from it. So there's a link there.
Wow. And who does all the writing and music? I mean, I take it you're kind of probably all involved, is it?
Yeah, I think most of the demos either stem from Paul or myself, like just beats and bass and a bit of synth here and there, Paul's guitars. And then we'd submit those to Mark. If he feels them, he'll write something to it. So that's pretty much the way it's worked since we're back. Me and Paul supplying the demos and then Mark getting to work on it.
Yeah, I mean, I've been able to put a lot of the experience of what I went through into all of these songs that are for the album. So it's, it covers everything, but lyrically and in music form. But it's not kind of, you'd think it'd be quite maudlin, but it isn't actually. It's quite, some of the songs are it's positive. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
because
I'm here today. I can carry on doing it.
There's been a positive, wasn't there?
Yeah.
So it has to be that. It can't always be
Yeah.
doom and gloom all the time, can it?
This is it.
Well, even if it's a dark subject, people obviously relate to that, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, the new single's called My Death Song, so it doesn't really get any darker than that.
I love that song, by the way, that you sent me. This new one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
I really do. I think it's fantastic.
It's a bit of it's slightly different style for us, I think. Obviously with Paul being more heavier on the guitar and, I like it. It's good. I like to just mix it up and change it up. And
I think it's definitely going to be the most varied album, isn't it?
Definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
Good.
You've got to be honest to you, you've got a great sound as it is. And this Death Song, I think it just sounds so good, and there is a nice change in there. And Mark, obviously, your voice, you can change your voice from a higher voice to a really deep voice. And I always kind of think, that is him, isn't it? It's not two people doing this, because it does vary quite a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think I've been listening to a lot of IMX, and obviously I'm nowhere near his vocal range or, tone or anything. But yeah, I was channeling that and as best I could. And I thought, oh, it's okay, it's different, But I go down to my baritone.
Yeah, it does go quite deep, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I've noticed that some of your songs where the vocals are coming through, and I don't know if you're old enough to know, I don't know how old you are, but do you remember Bill Nelson?
Yes,
You do.
I do. Yeah, there we go.
He had Revolt into Style.
I mean, I'm the same age, but I don't know the name.
Revolt into Style, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Was it Blue Noise, the band, or something like that?
Deluxe was the.
Oh, I've heard of them.
Yeah, Bill Nelson was Bebop Deluxe. Begin, wasn't it? Yeah, and then I think it might have been Blue Noise actually.
Okay.
Yeah,
and he had a voice, and at times Mark's comes through as very similar to Bill Nelson, and then, I mean, he was a great talent. So I mean, it's a compliment. It's not it's not an insult, by the way. But no.
I'm going to check him out when we finish here. I'll be on that Spotify, seeing what he's all about.
Very unusual at times, because he did varying stuff, didn't he?
Yeah, very varied. Some of it was outright pop, actually. Some of it, and some of it was, some of it's very rocky. Some of it's quite proggy. But some of it.
Do you remember he did Beauty and the Beast, and it literally was and more or less an instrumental for the musical. It's very unusual.
So did he kind of do Beauty in a higher voice, and then he did the Beast as the Beast with a lower voice?
No, it was just, I think, was it musical only? I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just instrumental. I think he had such strange styles. He just went all over the place with it. I don't think there was any set style with him. It was just, but his vocals, at times, you literally hit exactly the same kind of sound as him. And and it's not a bad thing because he was really good. So
we like to use a little bit of auto-tune, don't we, Paul? I wouldn't say you use loads on it. We don't use a lot.
I try to be as subtle as I
Yeah,
probably can.
it's usually me shouting from the vocal booth going, Paul, have you tuned it? Is it okay? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. And then I always think he's throwing everything at the vocal, but he says he doesn't. So that's a relief.
yeah, that's always a good thing.
People have come up at gigs before and said that you sound exactly like you do on the record. So
Okay.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good news. Do you do a lot of gigs?
No, we haven't really. We did when everything was flowing, with over the years we've done loads. We got to do all the Mira Lunas and the Amphi festivals.
Wow.
And we've never made it to America, obviously, because it's nigh on impossible now, I think. Some bands still go out. I know you were chatting to Isaac recently from Empathy.
Yeah, Empathy Test.
They're there a lot. I need to pick his brains to see how. It just seems like it's a bit of a hurdle to get there.
it's difficult when it's 4 people as well, isn't it?
It's hard with 4 people, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but never say never. If that ever happens, then we'd go. There's some interesting things coming up. We've got Helsinki with the Industrial Festival there at the end of the year. Yeah, I'm quite happy to travel. I like to get around and
Mira Luna again.
Mira Luna again this year in August. So
Hopefully Malta.
that would be nice. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, it's all good. We're gearing back up, I think, because we did our first comeback show at the Out of Line Weekender in Berlin last May. And that was our comeback one. So I was absolutely really nervous because obviously I didn't have the look and the protection of that.
Yep.
So it was like new nerves that I didn't really know. And also didn't have a drink before because Ollie's not drinking now. So I kind of haven't been drinking either. So kind of went on without a drink. And that's the first time I've ever done that. And I usually like to have a couple, calm the nerves. So it was like a whole new experience. There was new songs, obviously Paul playing guitar on stage. I wasn't used to that, but that worked great, like a dream.
Yeah.
And then, obviously Lloyd was like cranking up the noises and the sounds and giving Gary Newman a run for his money.
It worked really well, though, didn't it?
Yeah.
It's good to get back out and do it again.
Yeah. So we're gearing up this year to do it properly. And
It's very strange, isn't it? If you're not having a drink and you're used to it and then putting yourself out there, basically, and it's like, how's that gonna work?
It was always a crux to kind of find the confidence, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I used to go on with like a pint of red wine, a pint of beer, a pint of Coke, a pint of Red Bull,
Yeah.
and then wonder why I'm having a heart attack halfway through the show. Do you know what I mean?
Because Ollie does the drums and he's frenetic throughout the set. So yeah, I think your blood pressure used to hit the roof a little bit.
Yeah, I can imagine. You're not fancy the Rammstein style of the guy on the treadmill?
Yeah.
I don't know how he does that.
I
don't know how he does that.
It kind of makes me think, well, how much is on backing track and how much is live? Do you know what I mean? If he can focus on that. But, as ever, it's about performance. It's about entertainment.
Yeah. It's that show they put on, isn't it? I mean, it's massive, isn't it? I mean, I don't think there's many bands that can put on a massive show like that with the pyrotechnics and God knows what else. I mean, it must get bloody hot in those stadiums when they're putting those pyrotechnics on.
And it's not even just that. It's like the whole the liability side of things. Like their insurance must be like colossal.
Oh yeah, and I heard he does it himself. He got a pyrotechnics license, didn't he? He trained so he can make it as accurate as he wants and everything he wants. So he does it himself, the lead singer. I mean, that's quite a liability to take on yourself, isn't it?
Especially with his whole costume changes and everything else.
It's incredible.
He's actually just released a single on Out of Line as well. So
right,
we're on the same label as it's Lindenberg, isn't it? Am I saying it right?
Yeah. It sounds right. A Lord of the Lost on Out of Line.
They were. But then they went to the American label. They went to an American label, I think.
Is
Yeah.
that recently?
Yeah, it was around the Eurovision time, if not before. Oh, Napalm. Yeah, Napalm.
Napalm. Because before that, they came to Malta as well to play.
Right.
That was when they were out of line.
Right. Okay.
So that's just another reference that they had connections here. So that's good.
Hopefully Dark Malta tune into your show and maybe they'll see us. So if you are watching, get us booked in because
yeah, exactly. I'd love to see you guys there. That would it would be so good. Just your music is just it sits perfectly with the styles. So I mean I know it's varied styles. I mean, you just mentioned Isaac. They've played here.
Yeah.
Right.
That shocked me. I've always liked Empathy Test, but they were a lot different live. They were a lot more punchy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That surprised me.
Yeah, he's a good little performer. I mean, obviously his voice is superb. But yeah, I think people expect him to be a bit laid back, but I've seen the footage and he's quite he's
animated, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have a live drummer when they play live as well?
They do sometimes, actually.
Yes, I think they do. Yes.
I saw them,
I think that lifts their sound as well live.
Definitely. I think definitely.
I think that's major differences for live where they really pound, get the drums going behind them. Yeah.
And he also weighs probably as heavy as a drumstick, so he can bounce around, can't he?
Yeah,
exactly.
Although he wear a very big, long, heavy coat, and that's never good for moving.
No.
I'd like to know how soon he takes it off, how many songs in before Isaac needs to remove the coat.
Remove the coat.
Yeah.
I think because it was quite warm, I'm pretty sure when he was here, it was a t-shirt.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think that was the only way to do it.
The ladies love that.
Yeah, exactly. He's a bit of a heartthrob for him, isn't he? I think. Your new single, that's the 6th of February it's out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and where can people get that from? Is that just a standard online somewhere?
Usual stuff, streaming.
Yeah, streaming Bandcamp.
Yeah.
It's on pre-save at the minute. It depends when your show's going to go out.
I will try and get this out within 2 to 3 days, so it's before to make sure it's before that release, so people can get ahead of it.
Fab.
There's a link tree on the website, on massiveego.co.uk website.
I will then link to that then for you, because I don't want people to miss out on it. I mean, it's a fantastic song. It really is.
Quite a long track, actually. We do quite a few 5-minute plus songs, but we don't tend to release them as a single.
No.
This is 5+ minutes and it's a single, and it's just, it feels right, doesn't it?
Yeah. Doesn't feel laboured, does it?
No.
Feels all right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you kind of get disappointed when it ends, because I really enjoy listening to it, because it is a really good release. It really is. And it's just showcasing the way you're going. And I was going to ask you, but obviously you mentioned you've got an album almost ready. I was going to say, is there going to be an album planned? Because it is really great sound. And I think, like you said, the addition of the live guitars now, or the guitars, it adds that punch that I wouldn't say missed, but it kind of just enhanced a little bit more. And that's fantastic.
We had guitars previously, but they were electronic.
Electronic guitars, yeah. And there is a difference.
Yeah, there is.
Definitely. What surprised me about you guys is that you are English.
All right.
I expected you somehow, because obviously you've done a lot of work with Chris from Blutengel, and I just thought, oh, they must be German. And then I realized that you were English, and I thought, it's quite an unusual band for England.
I think, the whole, when I was doing the look and everything, that was, you can tell I'm an 80s kid. I still love Duran Duran now. And that's comes out in me, whereas all the guys have different stimuli and different.
What you mean, the more darker side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what have you got there? What influences have you all got?
Well, I like a lot of Nine Inch Nails stuff, Depeche, from years back. Gary Newman, IMX, you mentioned that. I love IMX as well. So that's kind of some of my reference points. You don't nick from them wholesale.
No.
Always got this, I'd like to do something that feels like that. And so that's where I kind of get my influences from, but from many different places, really. What about you, Paul?
Yeah, well, always The Cure. But again, going back to the 80s, really. And likewise, probably Sisters. And a lot of those kind of, a lot of those goth bands that were around in the 80s, really.
Yeah.
Susie, all that kind of stuff. But then a lot of electronic influences as well. I mean, I was involved in the UK club scene for a long time. I like a lot of electronic, just straight up electronic music. So a lot of the influence comes from that as well, and actually some of the same taste as Mark. Caravan were probably the first band that I ever saw live. So,
I'm kind of like more. Well, it's more of a techno person.
You're a raver, aren't you?
Yeah, I was more like clubbing in the 90s and stuff. So techno.
Yeah.
Quite a mixed bag, which I think
Yeah.
is because we all come in with what we like, and it churns out as it does. So
I think that helps, doesn't it?
yeah,
Definitely.
It really does help, because that way you can put out a sound that's slightly more unique than some that are all liking the same things, and that style comes through as almost similar to what's gone before. But when you've got, like an eclectic mix of different backgrounds, I think that really does give a little bit more excitement to the music.
Yeah,
definitely.
I mean, Berlin has been great for Germany, has been fabulous for us. It's been about 6-7 years we've been going there now.
Wow.
And they do it right. They do it big. Just everything feels correct when you go and do a show, or you're very well looked after. There's a language barrier, but then there isn't really, because Chris Paul speaks great English, and all the labels speak great English. And I think I'm a bit long in the tooth now to suddenly become quite fluid with German.
Nonsense, Mark.
Never too late.
No, I am.
Never too late.
I haven't
You're
got
just lazy.
No, I've got other things to do.
All right.
Paul can,
He's our asset.
He's the translator.
I mean, I try in live shows. I'll try and see your hands and wir sind massive ego and all that kind of thing. But that's my token. Probably this year I will try and add a few new phrases. Otherwise, people will be like, that again.
Yeah. That was his limit. We were right.
But Paul, you're quite good with German, I believe.
Yeah, he used to be.
Rusty.
I'm rusty. I need to brush it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But
no, it's a lovely place to go. So
we always get a warm welcome over there, don't we?
I think
That's
because
really good.
a big scene there as well. They do look after their artists. You know what I mean? Whereas in the UK now, it's very hit and miss, the dark scene. So it's very sort of nightclub based, isn't it?
Yeah.
Much smaller promotions, not much budget.
Yeah.
It's much.
I mean, having said that, there's even in Brighton, there's one new club. What was the one we went to see? We went to see Ultrason.
Yeah. Alphabet, wasn't it? Yeah.
At a club called Alphabet.
But that's gone now, hasn't it?
No, that's the other one in London that's gone.
Oh,
Reptile has gone. But there has been new kids loving the music, loving the new bands that are all doing the kind of goth thing and the new wave thing. So it feels like it could have a resurgence if more places open. But you know what? The state of the government, the way they close places down, and it's not really a nightclub kind of.
I think
it's not set up for that.
10 nightclubs a week have closed since COVID or something.
Wow, that's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
I mean, here we don't have many places, but the guy that does the Dark Malta, he has a club called the Garage, and he brings metal bands mainly, but he does bring other bands as well, just to keep the scene alive, really. There are some people here, and it's quite surprising. There's older people, but I did a Christmas market. I know that's completely different to what I'm doing here, but it's selling like wristbands and
candles,
necklaces, candles. Yeah, you've seen all that then, Mark.
I'm just guessing.
Oh no, that was right as well. And
black candles.
That was the things that kind of sold. And there was these two girls came up and they were looking at all the unusual stuff. And I said, been to Dark Mold? No, we're too young. I said, okay. Wow. How old are you then? I'm 12 and I'm 13. I'm a bit older. Really? And they were full goth.
Right.
All right.
And I said, wow, your parents have allowed that. Yeah, our dads were rockers.
Okay. So it's come round in favor of.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are the younger ones coming up and they literally were full 100% goth. You couldn't miss it.
Yeah.
And then next day came back with the mum to buy a studded belt. Then another one came back, different person came back with the dad to buy some studded wristbands.
With dad's wallet.
Yeah, with dad's wallet. And it was just like, that's so good that there's some Maltese parents that are allowing their children to be what they want.
Yeah.
And I think that's fantastic to see that, because there's a lot of parents that will say, no.
Yeah. But I think it's interesting. I think it's great that there's young kids who want to do it and they are asking their parents to actually let them do it. Because a lot of kids over in the UK, they're not interested in that kind of look. They're all influenced by the US.
Yeah.
R&B and rappers and all that. So that's where the influences are. So you don't get it much anymore over here. Well, they were saying that last night. Paul DJ'd last night in a local club. And there were some young kids, weren't there?
Yeah, there was
all really great, dressed up and tattoos and everything. They look brilliant.
Yeah.
So
it was quite nice to see, actually. It was like the amount of younger, but I mean there were a lot of older people there as well. But it was a good mix. It was a good mix, actually, and actually they were. I mean, they weren't kids, but I would say that they were, sort of
mid-20s,
early 20s. A lot of them, and it was just nice to see. Oh, yeah, you actually made some effort and actually decided to come out to a goth night. It was
it's nice to know that it's, even if it's only just, but it is still continuing.
Yeah.
I went to see, I think not last year before, I went to see UK subs at the 100 Club, and there was it was varied, like you said, from about the 20s, but mainly older people that were there, my age.
Are they a band, aren't they?
Pardon?
Punk, aren't they?
Yeah, punk.
One of the first.
They were one of the first, yeah. I mean, I think the lead singer he's got to be 80 now, I think.
Wow.
But he's still going.
Okay.
Calm down. And I think at one point they were the band that did the most gigs in a year.
Okay.
Because it was almost a gig a night. It was just, I don't know how they did it. And there was a guy there came up to me, and I had my camera with me, and he said, do you want me to help you put your strap on? And I said, yeah. So he put this on, help me put it on. He said, you want to take a picture of my hair? Because he had a green Mohican. I said, yeah, I'll take that. Took this picture. And he went, it's not real anymore. Oh, he said,
Velcro.
Almost there.
Velcro.
He'd used AstroTurf.
Oh, okay.
For the green Mohican. Because he'd lost his hair with age.
I mean, that kind of then feeds into the cyberpunk thing anyway, doesn't it? Like,
just be what you want, do what you want, how you want. And that was literally, he was doing what he wanted. But great gig like that. And that's
never let anybody tell you you can't, basically.
No. No, you've got to do what you can, and do it while you can. Because you never know when you just can't do it for some reason. Could be anything, but what influences all your lyrics? Is it everything to do with your like real life experiences kind of thing?
It tends to be that. I mean, funnily enough, the kind of breakdown I had came at the right time, because I was kind of drying up with subject matter, and of course everything that happened plowed straight into this album. So it's generally things that happen and people around me, and yeah.
And I don't think people realize how much or how many people and how common it is that mental health really does hit so many of us.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, I was going to see like a psychiatrist and all of that, doing the self-help books, which were great. I, I started listening to kind of old music that I'd missed first time around. So I really I played the Sex Pistols for the first time. I'd never listened to the whole album apart from the singles. So I put it on, loved it. I'm going to see Pill in about 2 months in Brighton.
Oh, wow. Excellent.
So excited about that. But yeah, it just kind of led to, it was a bad place to be, but coming through it led to so many new things that excite me. So I've come out of it better, But there's a lot of services out there and they are really needed by people more than ever.
Definitely. And I think people have to own it and know that they can talk to people as well. I mean, I know we're talking music, but I mean, on the serious side of mental health, there is help out there. And I know it's difficult, been through it myself, and it is difficult to actually talk to somebody about it because it'll take you down.
Yeah.
It really will take you down if you let it.
It's the only reason I've kind of been public about it, because I felt I owed it to the people that had followed us previously, and then just disappearing, I wanted to kind of own that and tell them why. But yeah, it's really important now, There's so many people suffer with it, and it's not stigmatized anymore, I don't think. Well, it's starting to change anyway.
Yeah.
People about it, especially guys, men will slightly open up about it now.
Yeah, where before it was all bottled up. And I think that's what caused, well, all sorts of bad things then after that. But no, I think being able to talk about it and being able to open up about it and be honest about it, nothing to be ashamed of. We all go through it, I think, to some extent, whether it's a slight thing or a big thing. And it can hit you without you knowing. That's the scariest part about it. It's the way it can come to you and just, boom, that's it. You're down, you're low.
Everybody at some point in their life, doesn't it?
Yeah. And it can be any trigger, can't it? There's no set pattern, is there? It's just one of those things. You think you can handle anything, and then you find you can't. So I think that was great. You came forward with that.
I looked up a friend a couple of days ago, actually. Remember I said that's Scotty. And he was always so confident. And I was really surprised when I looked at his profile, and he'd had breakdown almost. So
it's the whole thing of putting on a face, isn't it? having a mask.
Yeah.
And literally, that's what I had with the wig and everything.
Yeah.
It was a mask, and I'd had it for 20 years. So it's quite exhilarating to throw that aside and be reborn.
Yeah, well, it helps, I think, as well, doesn't it? I mean, it was there as a means to an end at the time.
Yeah.
But if you can throw that to one side and be yourself.
New chapter.
It gives you that little bit more strength, I think, then in the end.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've done so well. I'm really pleased that you guys came back. I think you'd have been a loss at that sound. And I think you've got something that's different. And you've worked with some great people as well, haven't you?
We've got a big surprise coming up, but all being well, I'm not going to.
No.
About it because it might. Yeah. But yeah, there's some cool people.
Good collabs, isn't there?
Yeah.
I mean, I loved. I'm trying to think of the name of the song. I've got it here somewhere to make sure I didn't forget. In Your Own Darkness. That's such an unusual song.
That was the last single, yeah.
Yeah, and the video.
Yeah, the video is great. Dixie Dread.
Yes.
And she whipped us into shape. She knew what she was doing. Yeah.
That was such an unusual video.
Yeah.
It was so different.
It's the mind of Mark, you see.
Yeah.
Says it all, doesn't it, Mike?
Yeah. It's quite worrying then, isn't it?
Yeah. We have to put up with it, mate.
That was all your idea, was it, Mark?
Yeah. Guilty. I mean,
dear.
I take a lot of things from films that have gone before. I love everything from silent films to, like in this video, there's some animation bits that obviously hark back to Melee and all of that stuff. We just lost film
Cronenberg.
David Lynch.
Oh,
yeah.
That's it. Yeah, not
He's
Cronenberg.
a big source of it. Anyone that's visual and kind of puts it out there I soak it up. So yeah, I love making videos. Good fun.
Yeah, because some bands seem to struggle with videos where, like yourselves, then you enjoy the videos part.
Yeah, very much. As you can see, this is kind of in our house because there was some elements of green screen we needed. So this is in one of we're decorating at the minute, and it's all empty. So green screen set up. So I'll let you decide if you want to add something behind.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's up to you.
Yeah,
You've got green.
yeah, it's there ready. So I mean,
Yeah.
maybe a band logo or something.
A
Pardon?
Barbie house would be nice. Yeah, bright pink.
What was that? A Barbie house?
Yeah, you could put a Barbie house behind.
At the side.
I'm not sure if that would go with your band image, though, would it?
Yeah, don't do that.
You'd be surprised.
Pink and black are lovely together. Yeah.
Can you
The
send me a
contrasting.
right
Pardon?
shade? Can you
Say that again.
send me a colour card so you get the right shade?
Yeah.
Get it spot on. It's great though. So that's in one of your houses.
Yeah.
Oh right, okay.
Houses,
Yeah.
Well, there's four of you, so
Yeah.
We're not like the monkeys. We don't live together.
No.
Oh, I didn't know they did they?
I think they did. It was
Well, the Bay City Rollers lived together for a
the
while.
Beatles did for a while.
The
didn't they?
Beatles
in their
did.
films, in the
Yeah.
programs,
Yeah.
they lived together, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not like that.
I think Atomic Kitten did as well, didn't they? They lived together as well.
The Spice Girls, didn't they, for a while?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the done thing. But no, we're quite spread out actually.
Yeah.
We're Hove. Paul is, I can never say it.
Chichester. So
Chichester.
I'm not that
Yeah.
far.
Yeah, and
I'm-
Lloyd.
And I'm up near Southend.
Yeah, down South End.
Yeah.
I could tell that by the accent.
There you go. Essex boy, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I was originally from the north and then spent most of my life in the south in Essex. So
Right.
I get used to the accent.
Do, mate. All the best people do.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure, Sam. After living there for so long, I'm hit and miss on that one.
They have some nice caravan sites in Essex. No, we've been to quite a few of them. They're all
And
right.
have some bloody awful ones.
Yeah, I do like a caravan holiday, gotta be honest. But anyway, I digress.
Digress.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you were serious there, Mark, or
No,
not.
I do. I
serious?
Yeah, I absolutely love a caravan. I find it's really good for writing as well. I don't know why, it's just the whole ambience and maybe the knickknacks around the, around the wall and stuff. But yeah.
He always wants to go for a holiday in a caravan, but I have to put my foot down because I can't be doing with their beds.
Yeah, no, the
So
beds aren't
uncomfortable.
great, are they? No.
But at least, I don't know if you ever watched Father Ted, the comedy Father
I have
Ted.
done that, yeah.
Yeah, because they had a caravan scene in there. I hope it wasn't a caravan like that.
Well, that was brilliant, that scene.
Was it?
You remember that one with what's the guy who's I'm trying to think of the host name. He hosts a program.
Donna, no, not Donna.
Hardlo Hanlon, wasn't it? There was.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
The one that died.
No, the one that died was Ted, wasn't it? So,
Yeah, but there was the other one, the guy who he hosts the Eurovision as well.
Oh, yes, no, Graham Norton. Yes,
Graham
yeah.
Norton.
Yeah.
He was the crazy priest in there, and it was just the
Oh, no,
funniest.
he was in it all the
I
way
didn't
through.
realise.
Pretty much. Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
So he was famous for that before talk shows.
Yes, I think that's how he started on there, wasn't it? As such, that's what got him known. I mean, if you get the chance, seriously, at least watch that Caravan episode, and you,
Okay. Yeah.
you not.
You also have to watch the well, it's their version of the Eurovision, isn't it?
Oh, My Lovely Horse.
My Lovely Horse. That's
Yeah.
it. You have to watch that.
It just-
I think that's the best one.
And
But
you-
Caravan
there was an episode where they're watching TV and they say, how stupid a comedy about three idiot priests living on an island, and that's them. The first time it came round, I never watched it because I thought, who'd watch a comedy about priests?
Yeah.
And then when I did watch it, I realized why they watched it, because it was so damn good.
Genius.
Yeah, it was absolute genius. I mean, it's just one of the funniest comedies you could ever watch. It really is. And it's just good old fashioned humor.
Yeah.
It really is. It's like music, really, isn't it? Good music, and there's bad music, and
Yeah.
Oh, Lloyd's gonna
You stay,
leave us.
Mike.
We're staying
Mike,
on.
You've got to go, Lloyd, have you?
I've got to go, mate. Yeah, but thank you very much for inviting us on.
More than welcome, and it's nice to meet you, Lloyd. I'm glad we actually got you to be in it as well. I really am.
I'll leave you in the capable hands of the guys here, and I'll just exit.
Yeah. All right, darling.
I'll speak to you soon.
Text us when you get in.
Take care.
You got safe. Yeah.
Okay,
Bye.
Bye. Well done, Lloyd. It was good today on camera. Yeah, rocking it out on
That's
a
it.
bass guitar actually today. He was rocking out on, even though he plays synths, but he also has a bass guitar.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. He's got that look of is it the Edge or the younger Edge from U2? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got that little bit of a look there.
So,
But
I
no,
think it's a lot of flattering. People quite often say he looks like Phil Collins.
like who?
Phil Collins.
yeah.
Really?
Not the one you want to be compared to, really.
No. I mean, I know he was a good drummer, but
Yeah. No, they're just taking the piss out.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Oh, and then there were three. Three left.
Three left. Yeah. So have you got plans for more gigs and tours coming up?
Yeah, things have been talked about.
I think once the album is out, then promoters will be more interested.
Yeah, I think people still kind of don't know that we're back, really, to be honest, because you know, we had a big presence on Facebook before we've ended. It seems quite different since I've come back. I don't know. It feels like Facebook isn't what it was, and Instagram I prefer anyway.
Because of the algorithms, I don't think it's.
Yeah, I think with me closing everything down, that might have affected it. Or people just thought, oh, well, they're finished, so let's unfollow. So we're trying to get them back, you know.
Yeah, it takes some time though, doesn't it, building that back up again? But I think once a few people, the right people, know that you're back, I think that will soon spread around again.
Yeah. I'm just happy to do it. I enjoy it. I enjoy writing, making the videos, all of that stuff. So, but yeah, obviously it's nice to have an audience. Yeah, they'll come back.
Yeah, they will, of course they will. I mean, especially now with your new sound, I think, which is so much. I'd like to say better, but that's kind of insulting to the good music you put before. Yeah. But I do think you sound more my style now. Right. It's getting better. But I did love your previous stuff. So it's not like that was bad. It was just, I think he's better. I think you've gone one step further with the band. You've progressed, as in, yeah, you've progressed, I guess you could say. And I think it's only going to be more positive from that, I think.
Well, it's funny because the next single we've got lined up is probably more kind of darkwave style sounding, isn't it?
Oh, wow.
Which a lot more of your influence came into that. And I've been listening to a lot of new darkwave bands. And yeah, I sort of tried something different with the vocal for that as well. So very happy to try different things. And
different again.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? I mean, as long as you're happy, that's the main thing. As long as the band's happy, I think that's the first point that should be most important, isn't it? That you guys are happy. Then the fans after that, I guess.
You know, it's incredibly hard to keep a band together and to find people that kind of have the same. They want it to succeed, you know. In different variations of the band over the years, people have come in, gone out, and it does become a bit of a treadmill because you don't kind of know who's going to hang around, who's doing it for some other reason or whatever. But
Yeah.
but this feels, it feels good. And it is more about the music now. It's less about the look and the image, and so yeah.
That's good. I was going to say that train of thought's gone. I had it and it's gone. Brilliant. I will cut that bit out, I think.
Yeah.
I'm just going to change my chair.
Oh no, another one's going to see what I was saying about bands and lineups. But lost another one now.
I'm sitting up on a table and it's bloody uncomfortable.
Okay. You rearrange the furniture.
It could be a poor excuse, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
What I was going to say is, you're doing it more for the love of the music.
Absolutely.
I don't think anyone can do it for, well, apart from the odd few, can do it for the money.
No.
You've got to do it for the love of the music. So that's why it's so vital that you guys are happy with what's being produced by you.
Yeah.
And you certainly look a happy group.
This is a smile of relief, because obviously today I had a whole script of stuff, and you never know how it's going to pan out. The weather can change, the drone can fall out of the sky. But everything went great today, so I couldn't be more happy.
But we are much happier as a band.
Yeah, we are.
Now than probably what we've ever been.
Yeah.
Yeah. It came through when all four of you were there. You're all sort of, you gel together really well, and you do all seem really happy with how things are going, and with each other, obviously.
Yeah, I think we're similar age groups. We like the same sort of music, and
yeah,
it's vital, isn't it? And I take it you are friends away from the band.
I mean, I've known Paul. It's strange. I've known Paul through his DJing work for like 20 odd years. Probably never chatted to. I might have said hi to you once in those 20 years, but I was aware of him. So
yeah.
And then strangely, you mentioned us in an interview, didn't you? And
we listened to it online. Yeah.
And then you messaged about, if ever we needed a guitarist to play some parts on a track, and I was like, straight in.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I'll definitely have you.
Yeah, and it's working, and it worked well, didn't it? I mean, obviously with the sound now, it's definitely worked. Definitely worked.
World though, anyway, because
it's tiny, isn't it?
Like my friend of mine that I grew up with, but I met him when I was 16. We both came out together, and it's a good friend of yours, right?
Yeah.
So I always knew of Paul, but even though I'd never met him because of my other friend, and like when I met Mark, he was working downstairs in a nightclub, and I was working upstairs, and we never met each other for like 3 years.
Yeah,
and then we met each other one day. So
wow.
Somehow.
So even though you were working in the same place, you'd never met as such.
It was one of those clubs that went throughout the night, through the morning to the next day. It was one of those sort of venues. So there's lots of different club nights and promotions going on throughout the building. So I was in the dank basement, in the sewer, and he was in the heavens.
you had the bad luck of the sewers. That's not great.
Sewer.
No. Could be worse.
Well, we live next door to a cemetery, so that, as far as goth credentials, I think that's quite
pretty good.
It's pretty good. So when I look out the window, I see all the lovely dead people, and it's very calm.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is they don't complain about any noise or anything, do they?
No.
No, exactly.
And they just don't like having parties either, do they?
No.
There's none of that goes on. No.
I was like doing my hair last night to work out how to do it today, and then I saw this fucking face behind me, and it was basically a fox staring through the window.
Foxy face, yeah.
My God. Was that at night as well, was it?
Yeah, like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Oh God, that's all you want, isn't it? A face looking through the bloody window.
It's proper Hammer House of Horror out there. So yeah.
Yes. Not the first person to mention foxes in an interview. That's weird.
It's quite weird though, because sometimes we sleep down there for working, and when you're laying down there, because it's so close to the cemetery, you do have to remember that there's like literally a dead body about 6 feet away, laying next to you in the ground. So it does feel a bit strange sometimes.
Be stranger if they got up and said, "Hey, what are you doing near me?" Even worse than an Essex accent.
Yeah.
Or an East End of London one. Grant
No,
Mitchell or something.
if one of us dies, we can just dig a hole and chuck us in. No one would even know.
Yeah, rollers down the hill.
I was going to say roll. Yeah, just roll round. In you go. Make it part of a video.
I'm thinking cliched. You've got to be very careful with the videos because they can quite easily go into cliche. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Cliche, just rolling him down the hill. Yeah.
Although there is in the next video where you could have died, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And if you had,
Yes.
it would have been quite apt, being called My Death Song.
Yeah.
And
a week ago, we shot. I had to go into the sea, and it was like it would have been -6 or something. So fully clothed in the sea, just to make this sort of death scene, you know. But yeah, it was all right. It was actually quite warm once I was in there. Okay.
Really?
Yeah, it was all right. I think because I was fully clothed and about 8 layers on, it must have caught the hot air.
It's the adrenaline, I think.
Yeah.
Were you in there long?
No, I literally just had to put my head under and then walk out again. So it was all right.
Not too bad then.
I didn't need a stunt man or anything for that one.
No. I think that would. Can't imagine it. I mean, it's bad enough here. It's in winter when it's cold, the water. I mean, we say cold. I think it's probably about 14 degrees.
Yeah. Might be massive by name, but I wasn't by nature. That way.
Well, you've had quite a career, haven't you, Mark?
It's been varied. Yeah. Did modeling when I was younger. Being a dancer. I mean, I wasn't trained, but I was doing the whole Vogue thing, so which was relevant then. And then, I just thought I've got to start a band, so slogged on with that really. But yeah, there's been lots of nice little adventures. I did like a works experience at Smash Hits magazine. I don't know if you remember Smash Hits.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
So I was like 17, and it was like a week's works experience at the epicenter of the pop world on Carnaby Street.
Yeah.
And that was like fantastic. And it's kind of come full circle because I just wrote a piece there's a magazine called Blitzed magazine. And it's like proper mag. It's not just digital. You know, they feature a lot of 80s bands and bands that are still performing and new bands. So yeah, I did a little review thing for them, and that kind of felt like, oh, it's like I'm working at Smash Hits. So it's taken this long to actually be a writer for that kind of magazine, you know. So I like it to be varied. I think keep it varied and it stays interesting. So
my experience with Smash Hits was going to London with the school to go around a museum, and we decided to not go around a museum. We went to Carnaby Street, and I think it must have been about the time of Live Aid.
Right.
And there was Midjour being interviewed by Smash Hits in the street, in Carnaby Street. Yeah. And there we are, not even thinking like normal people, going, you know, all the signs behind the backs, and not nice signs either, some of them.
But then it probably wasn't videoed, it was a written piece.
Oh, it was videoed. It was definitely was videoed, yeah.
Right.
So
that'll turn up one day, Mike.
It did, I think. And we were saying, you know, no. We've been in the museum all day. Well, teacher said, no, we haven't seen you. No, we've been here. Ah, you enjoyed this is the next day. Got to school, and it was, enjoyed your day in the museum, did you? Yeah, we did. That's why you're on the news this morning. What were all those things behind you? What you were doing behind that singer? We only wandered off for a second.
And can you imagine what it's like today with everyone with a phone as well?
Yeah, everyone.
You can't get away with anything now.
No, not a thing, can you? I mean, it's just, you see everybody on their phone.
Yeah.
And it's just constant videos, and it does make you laugh though when you see people doing their little selfies and things. And
yeah, it's digital heroin.
It is
about it. Yeah,
It is digital heroin. Yes, from the lyrics.
Yeah.
That was a really good song, actually.
It's Paul's history.
Fine.
Yes.
What do you know about
What
my
varied
history?
history do you
Well,
have?
the Rosetta Stone period was.
Yeah, I mean that was just a bit of it, really. I mean, it's sort of interesting. I mean, my background is studios. Actually, before that, so that's I started working in a very big studio in London, and did the old apprenticeship thing. Pretty much. So worked my way up from making tea
to working with Prince.
Yeah, which was
really.
Yeah. So I mean, but so that was always my background. So the Rosetta Stone thing came around because through a sequence of events, basically. But I mean, I ended up joining the band because I had produced their debut album. And the reason why I got the production gig for that was basically because I helped get them signed. Right. So, and that was kind of my, it was like,
wow,
I can get you signed to this label, but basically you've got to let me produce it. And, I probably didn't really know what I was doing, to be honest with you. I was just saying, yeah, I can do it. So that's why I ended up joining that band. So that's kind of interesting, but that is quite a long time ago. And what's quite strange is a lot of people still really remember me from that. So it's like all of that kind of dark scene still really remember me from that period of time.
Well, they're still going, aren't they? Rosetta Stone.
Well,
Paul
King still releases stuff now under the name Rosetta Stone, and I think that's probably a contractual thing with Cleopatra, who they ended up signed to after I left. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, or maybe it's a better name for him to release stuff under. Some of it was sort of rehashed sort of solo stuff or whatever. So yes, it is just him now. It's just Paul King now that does the Rosetta Stone stuff. But that's kind of interesting that's that period of time, because I've done a lot of very kind of varied things. Engineered a lot of very varied things. And like I said, I was kind of involved in making club music really for way longer. And I always think it's quite interesting to kind of look at my Facebook friends.
Yeah,
it's a split.
There's a split, yeah. Split. So there's a split. It's like you've got all the people that are into that know me for the dark stuff, and for the Rosetta Stone stuff and the stuff I'm doing with the guys now, and for that kind of side of things. And then you've got
it never crosses over. Really,
all of the people that know me from the club music, and that's that. And so it's a very sort of definite split of people. I mean, it's like lots of people that know me for one thing or the other. And sort of never the twain shall meet, really. There's a few, I suppose. There are a few people that appreciate both sides of it. So yeah, it's been a kind of varied thing. But yeah, I mean, I've always been one way or another. I've always been a studio rat, I suppose. Yeah,
he's very good behind a big desk. He always gets a good vocal from me, anyway.
He knows which buttons to press.
Yeah. Whereas I wouldn't have a clue with any of that.
No?
I'd have everything slided upwards. Max,
everything max.
All red flashing lights everywhere. Yeah.
That's it. And what about you, Ollie? What's your background?
Lots of different things really. I went to dance school when I was a teenager, and then I went to art school. Used to run nightclubs, like promotions. We did an art event for about 10 years. Every year we did like a big art event. That was 100 artists.
Wow.
And then I had a cafe for a little while. So lots of different things, yeah.
Wow. It's varied as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think you can draw on so many different aspects of life, can't you, that way? Yeah. And I think it all does help. I mean, every little bit of your life can be interesting in some way, and you bring that into your music, and it certainly can alter how the band will create, I think.
Yeah.
Because I mean, some bands are just, there are some bands that are sadly dull.
It's very fall into that trap of having popularity with one type of sound and then just constantly doing that.
Yes.
Not really
and some bands aren't very brave, are they? They stick with that one sound and they never change that sound. It's always the same. 20, 30 years down the line, they're still doing the same, or some are trying to churn out music that sounds dreadful because they've literally lost their voices, and that's really quite sad.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel sorry for people in a way, like Axl Rose, who's really lost his vocals, isn't he? And I saw a live video the other day of Paul Young.
Oh yeah.
Has he lost his voice?
God, it sounds awful.
Oh, shame.
Yeah, it sounds awful. And I used to like Paul Young, and you think, stop, don't let people remember you like this.
Yeah.
You know, it's
But you know, he's still got his hair, and
yes,
you know, in the world of pop or whatever, hair is quite important. You know?
it is. Yeah.
Although
there was a couple of bold guys, weren't there? I think there was. Is it right, said Fred?
No.
I think they were bold. I think.
They were bald. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
big fans of Right Said Fred.
No. I can see that by the looks on your faces.
Horrified.
Just say we don't come from the same school of politics.
No.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Is there anything else you guys would like to mention?
No, other than, you know, definitely wanting to play Dark Malta. Yeah, no, just check out the new track. It's out on the 6th of February through Out of Line. The video launches on the same day. And then hopefully an album towards the end of the year.
There will be.
Towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
There's a couple of more singles after this every other month.
The norm now is single after single after single, like every 2 months or something. So it's quite a schedule, but
I think people listen to albums very differently now, don't they?
Yeah.
So I think singles is a good way to go first.
Because you put an album out, it just disappears, you know. People aren't talking about all of the songs as a whole. It just is about the couple of singles off it. So
but I wonder if that will maybe change a little bit as time goes on because of the whole revival of vinyl. Will people get into albums?
I hope so.
Yeah, that would be good, because I must admit I like vinyl. And it's the first time for a long time when I started playing vinyl again that you listen to a whole album. Because you can't be bothered to go and lift the needle up and move it.
It's a sad thing, isn't it, when you get a digital release, because you just get this tiny little picture. There's no artwork there.
No, there's nothing. There's nothing there to collect. There's nothing there to show off. You know, you've got your collection. There's nothing.
You can't smell it.
No.
Printed. You can't.
Although I don't know if you remember Alien Sex Fiend.
Yes.
Do you remember their scratch and sniff record they released? Smells like.
Oh, and did it?
It did.
Oh, that's good. They got the essence right then.
Yeah. It really was like, why? Who want that in their room?
So you talk about it all these years later.
Well, you still remember it, and I do remember the Damned released one with strawberries, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
And it did smell of strawberries. So so it can work, but I'm not sure about having one 30 or 40 years later smells like shit.
You can imagine them trying to concoct the actual smell. What did they use?
How?
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's someone saying, well, that's not quite right. What do you mean it's not quite right? It smells like mine.
Maybe they didn't have enough fibre in the diet or something. There
wasn't so many vegans then, so you never know.
Hey, don't be knocking the vegans. We're both vegan.
Are you both vegan?
Yeah, and Paul, you're vegetarian, I guess. Are you? Or
no, I do eat meat.
He does have meat occasionally, but
often.
He's vegan when he comes here. But...
I am.
Yeah.
You've been vegan for 10 years now. 11 years.
Yeah. For the animals, not for anything healthy or whatever, but it is healthier.
Yeah, clearly not for the figure.
No.
That's up. Everyone to their own, and if you want to be vegan, be vegan. If you want to,
well, we're not preachy. No.
But yes, you do have rather, desirable smelling wind.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
we've covered it. Do you know what, Mike? I think we should wrap it up there.
I think what the smell of the interview.
Yeah, it just went downhill fast.
It did. That went really downhill very fast. I wish I had mentioned that.
Moment boy left. That was it.
Yeah, it's just destroyed it.
No, it's been good chatting to you, Mike.
Yeah, you guys.
Because we were on and off. It was my fault, but I'm glad we got there in the end.
Yeah, so am I. It's been really lovely meeting you guys. I mean, you're a great group of guys. You really are, and it's been a laugh as well, which is always enhanced that way. I love it when people can laugh and enjoy it.
Yeah.
You've got my email now, and anytime you want. So,
big love to all your listeners and your viewers.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and
you in Malta.
Yeah, we'll see you in Malta.
Yeah, we're coming to Malta.
Love to see you in Malta.
All right. All right, Mike. Thank you.
Take good care. Enjoy your rest of the day. And like I said, absolute pleasure meeting you all.
Cool. Big love. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye. Bye.